Charles's mistress, whom he kept on the side, became pregnant, and he brought Isabelle, her belly still flat, home, ordering me around. Isabelle is frail and cannot sleep in a small room. Move out of the master bedroom. The weather is too hot, and she cannot use the air conditioner while pregnant. Fan her at night by her side. I didn't ask further and complied with everything, both of us fully aware that 3 years ago, in a car accident, I injured myself saving my childhood friend Miles and could no longer conceive. Over these 3 years, women constantly surrounded him, but now he finally had one he could bring home, and since she was pregnant, this time it would surely last. It was time to repay what I owed him, so I said, "Uncle, I'm willing to take over the overseas branch. Please book me a flight abroad for the beginning of next month." "Sister, Charles won't let me touch water, so please wash my underwear for me. I'm worried the servants' rough hands might ruin it," Isabelle said, handing me her lace underwear with an innocent smile. My hands trembled as I took it and silently went to wash it. Isabelle turned, cooing to Charles, "Sister is so kind when I have the baby. I'll feel better with her and the nanny looking after me," clinging affectionately to his arm. Charles's gaze fell on me like venom, lingering before shifting away darkly. I knew he despised me since that accident 3 years ago. His hatred had grown, and I'd been utterly submissive to him these years, driven by my genuine guilt. After washing the underwear, Charles summoned me again. "Throw out all the condoms in the bedside table and buy new ones. Isabelle finds them disgusting." I looked up at once, earnestly explaining, "You can't have sex in the first 3 months of pregnancy. You need to be careful," to which he snapped, "Are you cursing her to miscarry, Claire? You're as vicious as ever." I shut my mouth instantly and rushed out to buy condoms. When I returned, Charles was gone, having left for the company. Isabelle lounged on the sofa, eating fruit with a casual glance my way, saying, "Sister, I'm craving pork rib soup. Can you stew some for me?" I dashed to the kitchen immediately. In 3 years, Charles had only brought this one woman home, and I had to serve her and her unborn child well to leave with a clear conscience. After 2 hours of slow simmering, the fragrant soup was ready. I served a small bowl and brought it to Isabelle, who met my eyes, smirked, and without warning knocked it from my hands, the scalding broth splashing onto me, instantly blistering my skin as searing pain overwhelmed me, leaving me dazed. "Sister, I'm sorry, I burned you. It wasn't on purpose," Isabelle cried, rising in a panic to grab my scalded hand as if to apologize, yet her touch ignited a pain hundreds of times worse. She pulled back with a playful smile. "Sorry, sister, I just ate some spicy strips," and I took a taxi to the hospital, my already swollen hands, now bandaged by the doctor, looking even bulkier. Charles called, berating me, "What did you do to scare Isabelle like this? She cried all afternoon. Don't you know pregnant women can't be emotionally upset?" Those words felt so familiar, as if in a daze I saw Charles and me just after our wedding. Him so tender with me, furious when I cried over a drama, thinking I'd been wronged. I gazed at my swollen hands, a bitter smile tugging at my lips. Once, he'd pampered me so I never lifted a finger, but now that person wasn't me anymore. I raised my brows and said, "Sorry, I'll go apologize to her now." When I got home, Isabelle's eyes were indeed swollen like goose eggs from crying. She flung herself at me delicately, grasping my hand. "Sister, how are you? It's my fault for being careless. I'm so upset seeing you like this." Though out of Charles's sight, she squeezed my hand until it ached numbly. I forced a strained smile and said, "It's fine, don't be sad. It's my fault for getting hurt and worrying you." Despite my abject humility and suppressed grievances, Charles's gaze seemed to burn with even greater anger. "Isabelle wants a foot bath. Go fetch her water," Charles said coldly. She protested. "Charles, no, sister's hands are like this. People might think I'm bullying her on purpose." But he retorted, "It's fine, she's perfectly healthy," giving me a frigid glance. I hurriedly fetched the water. After all, my hands were useless to Charles now, while the life in Isabelle's belly mattered far more. While soaking her feet, Isabelle nestled in Charles's arms, the two of them watching funny videos on his phone, pressed close together. I stood aside, watching this warm, harmonious scene, my mind drifting. Charles and I, married 5 years, had been just as loving in the first 2. What are you standing there for? Pour the water. Charles's voice snapped me out of it, and after I did, he cornered me downstairs. He grabbed my chin, forcing me to meet his eyes, deep and shadowed, made colder by the moonlight. Claire, you're truly pathetic. This is all your own doing. I warn you, I arranged all this, so don't scheme against Isabelle. She's not like you, she's pure. I raised an eyebrow, expression calm. I know. Unexpectedly, Charles grew angrier. Have you no spine? You agree to everything I demand? I owe you, it's only right, I said. And Claire, he roared, his eyes blazing with fury. He stared at me intently, the air thick with tension, then said, fine. Stand guard at the door tonight. When we're done, wash the sheets. My lashes trembled, but I said nothing, following his cold retreating figure silently. At the bedroom door, I stood against the wall, the faint moonlight pooling thinly on the floor, my arms still burning with pain as their intimate moans filled my ears. The noise was deafening, the walls trembling with it. I counted in my head, standing for hours until my legs went numb, Isabelle's voice hoarse, when the door suddenly swung open from inside. Charles, holding Isabelle in his arms, looked at me coldly. Come in and clean up, then turned to shower in the bathroom. I stared at the stained sheets, a pang of bitterness rising within me, and took them to wash as Charles ordered, silently praying the child would be safe despite such commotion. Sister, Charles is busy today. Can you come with me to the hospital for my checkup? Isabelle asked sweetly, hovering before me early in the morning. Her cloyingly sweet face left me unable to refuse, so I said, okay, and on the way, Isabelle chatted with feigned familiarity about trivial things. Sister, last night Charles promised to be gentle, but once he started, he couldn't help getting rough. Is he always like this? Was he with you too? She asked. My face flushed, leaving me speechless, and I could even see the driver's face reddening to his ears. Isabelle, seemingly oblivious, pressed on, Sister, Charles said you had a childhood friend who died in a car crash, right? My body stiffened, blood surging backward in an instant. Sister, you should let it go. He's dead, move on, you need to soften up, say nice things to Charles. He says he loves it when I flirt in bed, she continued. Isabelle rambled on, but I couldn't hear a word, my mind a chaotic mess as buried pain flooded back like a tidal wave. 3 years ago, Miles drove me home, and we crashed. I suffered severe injuries trying to save him, but despite everything, he still died. That day, there was so much blood, Miles's, mine, and the child's from my womb mingling thick and sticky, leaving me dizzy, nausea rising in my gut. That day, I lay ashen on the hospital bed, and Charles stormed in, demanding, Claire, do you love him that much? Would you die for him? He said, you killed our child. Do you realize that? For that man, you killed our child. I knew, because the doctor told me I could never bear children again. Sister, if it had been Charles in the car that day, would you have saved him too? Yes, I answered without hesitation. And me? Isabelle asked, still grinning, though her eyes glinted with something I couldn't read. Staring into them, I felt a sudden dread. The next second, the car, driving perfectly fine, veered out of control, hurtling straight into oncoming traffic. My vision went black, my mind blanked out entirely. When I opened my eyes again, I was on a hospital bed, Charles standing beside me, his gaze a tangle of complex emotions. A bad feeling gripped me instantly. What's wrong? I asked, and he replied, Claire, you killed my 2 children. My mind flashed back to before I blacked out the crash on the way to the prenatal checkup. Isabelle, I ventured tentatively. Charles lunged forward, choking me as he raged, you caused her miscarriage. Claire, didn't you say you'd repay me this lifetime, even as a beast of burden? Is this your repayment, killing another child? My hand shook uncontrollably as I shook my head. It's not like that I didn't mean to harm her. Then why didn't you save her, like you saved Miles 3 years ago? I fainted. Excuses. Charles stormed off. I sat dazed on the bed, unable to process it for a long while. The crash was too strange, so sudden, without warning, as if it had been planned. The doctor said my body was fine and I could leave that afternoon. Isabelle was in the next ward, and I'd meant to check on her. But as soon as I stood at her door, she started screaming hysterically, "Claire, you killed my child. You're a murderer. Claire, you'll die horribly." Her words sent an involuntary shiver through me. Charles approached and slapped me across the face. He said coldly, "What are you doing here? Isabelle can't handle stress, now get out." I raised an eyebrow, hesitated, then turned and left. Indeed, Charles must loathe me now. My presence would only irritate him, but in a few days, I'd leave, and I'd never bother him again. Yet a terrifying thought weighed on me. I went to the doctor to ask about Isabelle, who said, "It's just a miscarriage, her body's fine, and it won't affect future pregnancies." "That's good," I said, relieved she wouldn't end up like me. She could still bear Charles' children in the future. I returned home to pack my things, which were pitifully few anyway, especially since moving out of the master bedroom. What I hadn't taken, Isabelle had the servants discard. I packed everything neatly into just one suitcase, and the thought of starting anew across the ocean stirred an irrepressible flicker of hope in me. Isabelle stayed in the hospital for a week, with Charles by her side. On her discharge day, I hid in my small room, fearing her reaction if she saw me. Just a few more days to endure, I told myself. "Claire, what are you up to now?" Charles burst in, his brows twitching at the sight of my room, so clean it seemed uninhabited. I quickly explained, "Nothing, I just wanted to shed some bad luck and throw out old things." "You'd better be," he shot back. At that moment, Isabelle's piercing scream rang out, "Charles! Ah, what is this?" Her voice echoed through the villa, drawing me out of my room. When I reached downstairs, I froze in shock. My suitcase from the small bedroom had been rummaged through. Astonishingly, my packed clothes were gone, replaced by a memorial tablet and an antique urn. I stood dumbfounded as Charles strode over, picked up the tablet, glanced at it, and glared at me in fury. "Claire! You're fucking insane." "Me?" Isabelle, as if unhinged, collapsed into Charles's arms, sobbing louder. "Charles, it's so scary. Who keeps such things at home? Why would sister do this? No wonder the crash and miscarriage happened. These unclean things harmed my child." I stepped forward in a daze, taking the tablet from Charles. It bore Miles's name, and my mind exploded. How could this be? "Claire, I underestimated you." Charles pointed at me, trembling, managing only that before I shook my head. "It wasn't me." "Not you? Then who in this house would do this?" "Miles." "Ha, you must love him to death, hiding his ashes." "Claire, you disgust me." I stared at the urn on the floor, my throat tight, speechless. Charles grabbed it, opened it, and there were real ashes inside. I was stunned too. Charles barked, "Since you love collecting so much, make soup with it, Claire. I want you to eat it all. Maybe with such devotion, you'll be with Miles in the next life." The servant actually made the soup. Isabelle pinned me to the table, forcing me to drink 2 huge bowls, and afterward, unbearable stomach pain set in. I lay in bed, rubbing my stomach, tears streaming down, telling myself to hold on just a little longer, and I'd be gone. Charles kicked the door open, glanced at me curled up on the bed, and said icily, "To the hospital." "Who are you pretending for?" I didn't respond. Charles fumed, "I'll take you to the hospital. Otherwise, if you die, it'd just fulfill your wish to be with Miles." He carried me downstairs, tears in my eyes. He didn't show up during my hospital stay. On Facebook, I saw him take Isabelle on a relaxing trip. In their intimate photos, Charles smiled happier than he had in ages. Good, he finally had company, so this time, Charles, I was truly leaving. At the airport, I deactivated my Facebook, snapped my SIM card, tossed it in the trash, and silently prayed toward where Charles was. I'm sorry, Charles, for all the unhappy memories I brought you. From today, I'm gone wishing you all the best for the rest of your life. Has Claire been discharged? Charles asked over the phone by his office window. Mr. Charles, Madam left days ago, came the reply. Days ago? Charles frowned at once, hanging up with an inexplicable bad feeling, his forehead throbbing. Just then, a knock came. Come in, he said, and Isabelle entered gracefully with a lunch box. Charles, I brought you food. You're too busy, take care of yourself. Charles's face darkened. Has Claire gone home? No, isn't she at the hospital, she said. He rubbed his temples. The doctor said she left long ago. Then, what does that mean? Isabelle gauged his expression cautiously, gripped by panic. Charles thought a moment, then said gravely, go back, pack your things and move out. Isabelle paled instantly. Charles, what do you mean? Irritated, he yanked open a drawer, pulled out 2 stacks of cash, and tossed them to her. This is what I promised, don't forget, we were just acting. Leave now, I'll contact you if I need you, he said. Isabelle hesitated, pocketing the money. After Isabelle left, Charles stood restlessly, staring out the window, his unease growing. He checked his phone, no messages or calls from Claire in days. Though she'd always been so quiet, so compliant, something felt off to Charles. She'd been discharged but hadn't come home. Where could she be? Claire had no family in this city. He was simply tired of her unwavering obedience, like a soulless puppet. He knew Claire didn't love him, knew Miles still filled her heart, yet he was restless, unwilling, bringing women to provoke her, hoping for 3 years to see defiance on her face. Even a hint of jealousy would have made him feel she cared a little, but even with a pregnant woman brought home, she willingly did anything. Charles was nearly mad. After hesitating, he called Claire. Sorry, the number you dialed is not in service. Please check and try again. Not in service? Impossible. He checked the number several times. Correct, he knew it by heart, yet every call returned the same, not in service. In an instant, Charles felt a bloody void carved in his heart, pain stealing his breath. He messaged Claire on Facebook. Where are you? He sent, only for a red exclamation to pop up instantly. The other party has deactivated their account. Add as friend to send. Charles almost thought he'd misread it, double-checked, then, realizing what it meant, smashed his phone. Find out where Claire went. Dig up the earth if you must, but bring her back. Charles roared. His assistant, trembling at his fury, agreed and left to search. Back home, Charles's temples pulsed relentlessly. Only then did he notice not a trace of Claire remained in the house. He questioned every servant, every friend and relative who knew Claire. No key clues emerged. No one knew where she'd gone, and his heart sank, agitation mounting. Sir, there's something I'm not sure if I should say. Aunt Wu, a servant, said timidly. Charles sensed trouble at once. What is it? Speak. A few days ago, the day Madame was hospitalized, I saw Miss Isabelle sneaking around the downstairs bedroom, throwing things out secretly. I didn't mean anything by it. I just followed and saw Miss Isabelle throw out all the clothes Madame had packed in her suitcase. Charles's frown deepened. What are you implying? Aunt Wu bowed lower. The things in the suitcase weren't Madame's. I saw her pack earlier. The tablet and ashes? Yes. Charles's heart sank with a thud. He clutched his chest instinctively, something surfacing in his mind. All right, I see. Go back to work, Charles said, sitting on the sofa and calling his assistant. Get me the villa's surveillance from the past few days. Yes, Charles, the assistant replied. After watching the footage, Charles's face darkened like water, fists clenched, trembling uncontrollably with rage. Charles, I heard sister hasn't returned. I'm worried. Came to see if I could help. Isabelle said uninvited, her fawning look and every expression meticulously crafted. Charles stared at her coldly. Good, I've got something for you. Isabelle perked up. Tell me, what is it? What really happened with that crash? The smile faded from Isabelle's face as she eyed Charles nervously, unprepared for him to bring it up so suddenly. She clenched her fists, weighing her words before saying cautiously, I don't know, maybe the driver. Charles cut her off. Isabelle, I'm giving you a chance, seize it. If I find you hid anything from me, you know the consequences. Mr. Charles, I didn't, she stammered. You'd better not then, explain the tablet and ashes. Why frame Claire? Isabelle's face turned deathly pale, her lips trembling harder. I didn't. Still denying it? I've seen the footage. Charles roared. Isabelle whimpered, sorry, Mr. Charles, I didn't mean anything else. You told me to act with Madame, to make her angry, so I didn't consult you. Isabelle, you're too presumptuous. I said to anger Claire, not harm her. I'll ask one last time, did you cause the crash? If I find out, it won't be this simple. Charles's expression was terrifying. Isabelle hung her head, wavering, and her reaction told him enough. He stood, furious. She grabbed his leg, pleading, Charles, I didn't mean harm. I wanted to help you. I've loved you for so long. But you only see Claire. You acted with me in bed to provoke her, not knowing I truly like you. Charles's face grew uglier as he flung her off harshly, saying coldly, Isabelle, I've seen this trick too often. I warned you not to play games, but you wouldn't listen. He turned to the servant, bring hot water. Isabelle flinched. Charles took it and poured it on her without mercy. Isabelle writhed on the floor in agony, her once delicate skin now covered in burns. Charles said icily, what you did to Claire will return to you 1,000-fold. Get out. I never want to see you again. She was dragged out and thrown away. Charles returned to Claire's old bedroom upstairs. Inexplicably, a faint trace of her scent seemed to linger. He sniffed hard, yet caught nothing. He lay on the bed, clutching her pillow, tears falling silently. Claire, are you truly so heartless? Is Miles the only one your heart can hold? At Miles's house, Charles waited with others at the door for ages, but no one answered. What's going on? Find out. Charles, we found out. Neighbors say Miles's mother mentioned going abroad last month and hasn't been seen since, the report came. Abroad? Charles's brows knitted tightly, his chest heavy as a mountain. Find her. Search the whole world if you have to. Claire's mother died in childbirth. She and Miles were neighbors, and with her father always busy at work, she grew up mostly in the Miles family. After marrying Charles, all was normal until a dinner at the Miles's house, where Charles stumbled upon many photos of Claire in Miles's room. From every angle, in every setting, clearly candid shots. Though Claire looked beautiful, Charles couldn't stomach it. As a man, he instantly grasped Miles's hidden feelings for Claire. He demanded she avoid the Miles's house and cut ties with Miles. Yet she secretly kept in touch with Miles behind his back, and they ended up in a crash together. Charles couldn't fathom how she, 5 months pregnant, could risk her life for Miles. Did he and their child mean less to her than Miles? For 3 years, every night Charles lay in bed, eyes closed, replaying that day's horror. He couldn't move past it, truly couldn't. Countless times he urged himself to let go, but seeing Claire's innocent face, he couldn't harden his heart. He hated her, but hated himself most. He loved Claire too much, loved her so deeply that even knowing another man filled her heart, he couldn't let her go. Charles, we found her. Miles's mother is a nanny in a small French town. We traced her to Madame, the assistant said, showing him the findings. Seeing Claire's face after so long, his heart jolted. Book the fastest ticket to France now. Yes, Charles. In France, my days were full and busy. The new company's work was unfamiliar, requiring me to spend hours learning alongside my job. But staying busy dulled the sadness, though in quiet moments, I'd still think of him, my chest aching until I couldn't breathe. Yet I told myself repeatedly it would get better as long as I endured, everything would fall into place. Until that day after class, when I saw Charles downstairs, I froze, unable to react for ages as he stared, weaving through the crowd to reach me. He glared at me, teeth clenched, surely hating me. "Claire, you're really something." "Charles, let's divorce," I exhaled softly, saying it slowly. Before, I'd been too cowardly, only wanting to flee that suffocating life, never facing our issues, problems like mountains between us, lingering unless resolved. "Divorce? Claire, you wish?" Charles sneered, puzzled. I looked at him. "Don't you hate me? Why not divorce?" In that moment, his eyes held a tangle of emotions. The world buzzed around us, but mine was silent chaos as I gazed at him, neither of us speaking. Finally, with red-rimmed eyes, Charles said word by word, "Claire, I surrender. You're truly remarkable." "What do you mean?" I didn't understand. "Claire, I admit it, you're tough. I won't stoop to your level. Come back with me." He reached for me. I dodged instinctively, and a faint sadness flickered in his raised brows. I coughed lightly. "Charles, I investigated. That crash was your mistress's doing, not mine. Nor did I place those ashes. I don't owe you anything anymore. What I owed, I've repaid." Charles stayed silent, staring. I went on, "Isabelle's decent, just spoiled. Let's divorce. She'll feel secure and improve. I hope you're happy." "Claire," Charles roared, "she and I aren't like that. I hired her to act for you. To make you jealous, to drive you mad. I give up. Come back. I won't do it again. While you were gone, I thought a lot. I can accept you not loving me, but not you being gone." Charles's eyes were red now, his pain palpable. I felt a pang of pity, ruffling his hair with a soft laugh. "I don't love you. Claire, I don't care. I don't care if it's Miles or anyone else. As long as you're by my side, I have a chance. I regret it. Miles is dead. Why fight a ghost? Come back, please. I'm sorry. I won't treat you like that again. Forgive me, Claire. I just love you too much." I looked at him, baffled. Charles must be exhausted, his words disjointed. Still, my eyes welled up. Seeing Charles near madness, I couldn't help softening. With a light sigh, I said, "Let me take you somewhere." I took Charles to Miles's grave. His mother, now in France, had moved it here so he wouldn't be alone. I placed a big bouquet of sunflowers before his grave. Looking at his youthful photo on the stone, I gave a faint smile. "Charles, actually, I was driving during that crash 3 years ago." Charles looked puzzled. I said, "That day, the mountain road was tough, fog thick. I got distracted, and the car flipped off. I fainted first. When I woke, I was roadside, Miles dying beside me. He saved me first, covered in blood, the child gone. He apologized for not saving it. How could I abandon him? The phone was broken, no one around. I carried him all night to the main road, where we were rescued. He was gone. I was devastated. I gazed far off. You know, my dad had leukemia. Then a match was found. I was driving him for the transplant, but he died. I couldn't save him or Dad, and I killed our child. I was so sad. But Charles, I never loved him my whole life. It's only been you, believe it or not." Charles stared, stunned, speechless for ages. I curved my lips, feeling a weight lift from my heart, yet not entirely. "Charles, these 3 years were agony. I failed you all. I killed our child, and I can't conceive again. You should hate me. Your life shouldn't be dragged down by me. So, Charles, I truly hope you find a better wife." Charles gripped my shoulders hard, pulling me into his arms. "Claire, why didn't you tell me? You've suffered so long. Why keep it from me?" "Because I'd rather you hate me than see you unhappy." "Charles, our bond is over. Let's divorce," I said, turning to leave. Charles stood there, shouting after me, "What if I refuse? Claire, I won't. I've said I'll love you forever. I don't care if you love me or what you choose. I won't give up. Claire, I won't divorce you. The wind carried his words to me. Tears slid silently down my cheeks, an indescribable feeling, my pain only deepening as I walked away without looking back. I'd resolved to leave a divorce paper traps our lives, not our hearts. I wanted Charles happy, even if I wasn't the one beside him. 3 years later, Uncle died. I returned for his funeral. Charles in black, a woman by his side, one glance, and hot tears streamed down my face. Acquaintances urged me to take care. I nodded silently, my tears so hot they nearly blinded me. Claire, 3 years, and you're finally back, he said. I steadied myself, offering a perfect smile. Congratulations. He smiled back, gripping his companion's hand. I wish you find your happiness soon too. Watching the paired couple, my eyes burned again. My wish had come true. I'd known if I held firm, Charles would find his happiness. After the funeral, in the SUV, Charles handed the woman cash, his eyes forlorn. Thanks for your performance today. You're welcome, Mr. Charles. Call me anytime you need me. Oh, and if you want to make it real, I'm game, she said, blowing him a kiss. Charles remained expressionless, turning to the window. Nearby, Claire stood by the cemetery, cloaked in loneliness. Since she wanted him happy, he could pretend to be for her to see.